In the next 15 odd minutes, I'm going to share with you, our journey and our experiences in building platforms that are basically enabling digital transformation. Yeah? I'll try to see how you gain from what we have been doing in building these platforms. So just to get a perspective, what this platform does before we get into the sort of the inside story of this, is that we are into this business and digital transformation where our customers are onboarding their customers, whether it is the consumer or the merchant, right? And in that, you need to do a lot of, in this digital process, you need to, while doing the onboarding, you need to bring about how you're going to sort of look at know your customer, know your business. And the fundamental then goes on is what is required in order to build such a platform that is going to be able to achieve this, right? So you would have heard these numbers or seen these numbers of the digital transformation that is happening, whether it's in the account opening or the number of transactions that are happening or the number of folks that are going to join the formal economy. The question here is not just to look at these numbers, but what is the demand that this is going to have on the kind of products that you're building and that is going to be seen. So if you take this nutshell that is increasing by 65% or so on, the challenge is going to be to devise such a platform that is going to be able to achieve this. Now, some of the things that we have been using our platform in, and see, these are some of the customers who are doing that, is, and some of you might be here as well, is whether it is the number of credit card issuance that is happening, or the way the loan is being dispersed, or the way we are lending, both on the consumer side and the merchant side, is that while you're doing this onboarding process, how do you get to know your customer? Both from a regulatory need perspective, and more importantly, that you need in order to take those decisions in order to whether open the account or issue a card or give a loan, right? So what we're going to see now is how do you go and devise such a platform, and what aspects do you need to consider when going through this process. So let's understand now, you're trying to devise and build a platform like people were talking about. Do you think about these things up front, or do you go around and build it? So one of the critical factors that we have considered while building a platform is what are the capabilities that you want to have in the product, right? If you think about those capabilities that want to build a platform. Now, let's take an example in our case. We are trying to build a platform which is going to provide you digital fraud APIs. What does that mean? It's going to allow you to do face liveness. It's going to try to do your face checks, right? Face match. It's going to try and do and check whether this identification that you're provided is valid or not. But you've got to do it with authentication. We are providing self-video or assisted video journeys. So you have a complete workflow involved in it. So the way to look at the platform is not go from a centric perspective of technology, but first look at the amount of capabilities that you got to bring. And remember, these capabilities are evolving. We started with an API background checks and then brought about video services. Now these video services is how do you connect customer and the agent to go through the whole verification process. So the idea is keep the central view when you're trying to build the platform is the capabilities that you need. Now once you have understood that the capabilities you want to devise, you got to think what services that make up the capabilities, so that these services that you want to construct are then sort of bracketed under these capabilities, because as you go and evolve and change your platform, you know where the change gets impacted, or where the scalability is required, or where the resiliency is required, or what performance parameters you need to look, where does the accuracy you need to focus on. So by having this focus view for everybody in the organization, gives everybody an umbrella view of, oh, here is a platform that is made up of these capabilities, and these capabilities are made up of these services. This is your starting key point. You don't establish that becomes a key problem of how to connect all these dots, because in the end, the entire journey needs to run end to end. Now, having devised and figured out the services, you can't now say that my platform is going to use only this technology or that technology. Each capability needs to be figured out what is the best for it to devise and build it. So when we say languages and frameworks, you got to think in that what is the best approach to it. So for instance, when we were building the background verification product of ours on this platform, we thought about a technology that was probably just using the name here, Ruby on Rails, for that to build it out. But when we went to the digital fraud APIs, we did not think about it in that way and said, oh, we're going to use this, we're going to use it here. No, the fundamental was we are building an API platform that needed to be fault tolerant, highly concurrent in nature from what it is. We started by doing 100,000 transactions a day, and now today we are doing more than 500,000 transactions a day. So the kind of language, we changed the language paradigm itself. We used a concept called functional language paradigm, which essentially was a different approach to looking at it. It's not widely used, but it is highly fault tolerant in nature. So the point here is that once you have the capability and framework, you can't say I'm going to devise and build it in the same way that I've built some other capability. Just because, oh, I do not necessarily have that kind of a skill. You should be ready to build the skill from the industry. So one of the things we hire people when we bring in folks is not based on the language and tools that they are, but the capability to learn new languages and frameworks in order to build those capabilities. So that's a central second piece that is there. The third piece that you've got to figure out as its core is that it's highly got to be API oriented. Our platform is not going to live alone. We got to live in the digital transformation ecosystem. What does that mean in that context? So you got to start thinking about how this is going to play in that ecosystem. So hence, every service that we design has a fundamental construct that needs to be there. Not only how you're going to design and the contract that you're going to put in place, but the aspect of various things, how you're going to deploy it, how you're going to operate on it, right? And that API, both internal APIs and not external facing. So don't think about only external APIs as how they're going to be giving the customer. That's of course critical in setting up the ecosystem. But how each capability is going to work internally, which is made up of services among themselves. There are services that need to connect. There are long-running service processes, there are real-time running processes and services. And you need to think about them from that perspective. And having that fundamental thought process and keeping these three critical factors, if you do. So I would say that if you go back and look at your products or the platforms or that is built, you got to ask, have I clearly defined the capabilities and the services? Have I looked at what is the best approach to build those capabilities and services? And have I made those services and capability interact both externally and internally using this concept? If you do that, your starting point is very high in terms of how you're going to engage and bring all the stakeholders in your organizations in terms of understanding the products and how those platforms have been architected, designed, built, deployed, and operated in the system. So that's what been our key learning in this space. Now, a lot of people talk about resiliency, but what does it really mean? Now, when does the resiliency start? When does the resiliency really start, right? It starts at the core of the architecture of those capabilities and services. Well, how are you going to look at my services availability? How are you going to look at how these services will scale when the demand gets up? So essentially, when you think of that, you got to look at upfront, what are my resiliency parameters, right? How will it recover? How would you provide the high availability? That's why when I said we create a service design, we don't call it a high-level design, low-level design, or anything. We have come with this construct called service level design, which articulates this particular dimension of resiliency in terms of what does it mean to be highly available. Remember, if our API services or the journeys that we are providing in platform go down from the use cases I was trying to use it, businesses get stuck in terms of onboarding their customers. If you don't onboard your customers, then how will be having that? So whether it's not only in BFSI sector, we are actually working in different logistics and gaming and other sectors as well. And this is critical aspect. The resiliency here from the consumer point is they are being equipped to see the digital transit. They expect it to be on every time wherever there is, right? And the whole idea is that, okay, things can fail, fine, but if it fails, how does it degrade gracefully? right? What are the most important things that must be still on in order to do that? So that's why which is there. So for instance, in our cells, one of the things we have is how we meter our APIs and plans. But if our plans is down, we don't make our customers say, oh, our plans is down, internal services, so we're going to not provide you that service. No, we will continue to provide that service. We don't take care of that part of it and make sure that does happen. The other is, given the nature of a business, I told you, we are doing document proofing, data proofing, digital proofing in the whole initiative that goes around to know your customer. Now, PII has to be looked at very intrinsically. So what we have done, remember the service context that I told you? Now the service context basically accepts, if you look a digital artifact from our customer, like it could be the PAN card or any other driving license and all of that, which you're not only validating and all that. What we want to do is make sure at that level, we are securing that end to end, not only at each customer level, but for each transaction, and within each transaction, for every digital artifact that is getting sent across that. By ensuring that, we ensure that the security is managed at the lowest level and not just assume because our data center provides the security at the rest in the disk, it is secured. Because you got to be aware of all of these dimensions. And this is what has helped us ensure that our platform meets all the compliance needs and security compliance, because what we have created is a SaaS-based platform on the cloud, which our customers are using. And taking this aspect as a core to our design of the platform has really helped us achieve those goals, and which is why our customers are trusting us in order to do those kind of business processes that we started off with. Now, the other aspect that you need to be aware of is agility. Now, businesses' processes will change, right? So when we have devised our workflow, if you take our business process today, we are able to do video KYC. These regulations can change, the business process can change. How fast can we launch a client? How fast can I scale my platform to the demands of that? All of these other dimensions is what we have considered in our experience when building a platform, that how fast can you go live with new products? By the way, we have already 3 product lines that this platform serves. So remember, we were a startup that started 10 years, and we have already created 3 product lines. We have a 4th in the line, and potentially by the end of the year, another 5. The question is, the agility is going to be important. How fast can our customers integrate with our platform, right? This is a core to it. You got to think from those perspectives. We are always challenging it. We say we need only one API to integrate with us and one redirect to start this whole onboarding process. But even in that, there could be issues. So this aspect of understanding agility and defining the agility at your capability and service level is important. What typically happens is you think about these things, oh, I have created an API, I have created the agility, here's the contract, go ahead. But are your customers finding it easy to interact with them and bring that? Now this is a big one. This is very close to my heart, which is data harvesting. You saw a lot of folks talk about data is the new oil, data is there. But where does it really ask me if I ask you this question? People talk about all analytics and AI and everything. But the core of that starts from this concept called instrumentation. If you don't instrument your services and you don't put in the instrumentation, all this becomes day after. Oh, we need this analytics. Do we have the data for this? So this is where my point. So here in ID5, we have a concept called instrumentation-based development. No service gets deployed unless you have not defined its instrumentation. Yeah, test-based development, all of those are good. But what we have done is created a concept called instrumentation ready. Like I say, no flight takes off from Santa Cruz without your black box. At ID5, we don't deploy any services if it doesn't have the appropriate instrumentation. Not just technical instrumentation. I'm talking about business instrumentation that will need to power that. Then what we have done is, we have created a data fabric layer for real-time analysis. And I'll show you the example of that, to harvest this data in order to do 3 fundamental things. How to improve our own products, how to aid in investigation, if there is an issue. And third, give insights to our clients. And the example of that, which you will see later, is that we are taking this harvesting in real time and providing that. So how we monetize is a secondary factor. First, we look at what is it needed that will help our customers on board and sell that. Just imagine if you can think about in this video services, which is assisted video, VSIP process of opening bank accounts, the number of instrumentation parameters that will be connected. People can come from different devices, browsers, networks, agents could be there. The different documents being captured. Where in the funnel is the process? Is when the user was coming onto the platform while doing the video journey or post that. And that whole process helps to find one business metric which everybody is looking at, conversion of the user in order to have completed that business process. And that is why we focus so much upon creating this, harvesting this instrumentation data in order to bring about that is there. Then the elasticity. Clearly, elasticity is needed because your demand can go up and down, and you want to ensure that your services can scale. Go back to this design service principle. If I want to make elastic, what do I need to make elastic? The entire platform? That one capability? Or more than one capability? Or that one service? Or the set of services? So you must understand in that whole journey, you must define elasticity. What people say, auto scale. Yeah, auto scale what? Right? So we have product engines like we have models which scale. If I scale that model, do I need to scale some other aspects as well? Right? So this is a key aspect when you consider that elasticity. So these have been our critical factors in arriving at how to go about the platform that is required in order to provide the kind of services that are going to be part of the digital transformation that is helping us to meet our client needs, which is there around these facets. So a couple of, this I will not go in detail, but this is how we have broken our platform in terms of its capabilities, and within these capabilities we have gone and devised the services. Now these capabilities, for instance, if you take, I'll just take a couple of examples to illustrate the point. If you look at the capability of this central gateway, which is the interface to the entry of that, this is holding how many requests are coming, right? Which clients are coming through this? Have we set the rate limiting services as defined by the SLA and SLIs that are required in order to meet that? Is it meeting the authentication needs? Does it meet the mutual authentication and encryption that is there? By looking at this, we're able to focus on this aspect and dimension of this capability which everybody in the company understands. Oh yes, we are talking about central gateway, this is what it made up of services, this is what impact. Taking another example, media services. Now media services is not just about, it provides today a complete end-to-end business processes of what documents you're going to capture. So when a request comes in, how does it get captured, what artifacts you come, what passes and fails. So the supply of work, how it gets allocated to agents, how the agents interact, how does the business process complete. And similarly, the data fabric or the data harvesting engine is there. By doing this and devising your platform as a set of capabilities and services, what it has helped you is figure out and define that model from that perspective. And a couple of close-ups that I wanted to show, just a visual aspect of it, that given what I've been talking to you about, we provide two big facets from our platform that we can look at the services from. One to our customers, which is the live monitoring dashboard, which we call. Here, our customers, this is an example from our assisted video journey where today you're able to open accounts using the VSIP process that has been there in the banking and industry, where today that has been really revolutionary in my whole process, and I hope it goes to the other businesses' processes as well. And by giving this, a floor manager or whoever is product manager can control and see how my calls are coming, how many are getting verified, and so on and so forth, so that you have the business metrics in real time that is there. So while they interact, this is available to them and they can manage all of that perspective. The second one I talked to you about for the same business process, we have created a live support desk. So think about that. live support monitoring, live monitoring dashboard for our business, live support desk for our team in the platform who's managing it, who's able to look at that data. If there is any anomaly in the system, if there is a problem that our customers are having in the issue, right, with any release that you sent out, going into that right-hand side is just showing you that if a one call gave, I can go and observe that what is the video call? Was it because of a network issue or it was not because of a network issue? Was it because of the business parameters that is there? So essentially what this is trying to illustrate to you and give you an example where I started this thrust of creating this platform from those various factors is that when you have broken this down into capabilities and services, you should be able to observe these capability and services at the lowest level by both providing insights to our clients so that they know they can make those decisions in order to ensure that the conversion is happening or the business process of onboarding is completing, or we are able to figure out, is there anything that is happening? And remember this, it has to be real time. That's why I said services need to be instrumented. So that is what I wanted to share with you, our experience in building this platform and what we have taken as a consideration when we discuss with our product team, when we discuss with our market development team, when we discuss and engage. How have we crafted this platform? What factors did we consider? How did we devise this and that? And happy to share more details. That's our experience. Happy to connect with you guys offline as well and learn from your experiences as well. So thank you so much for having this time here. Thank you.